This is based on the satellite images. There are some, I know there are old faces, there are some new faces. To say a few things, satellite remote sensing. Remote sensing means through a remote, as like in a TV we are putting a remote. That means from a far distance, if we can sense a particular object, what is the quality, that is called your remote sensing. It is nothing. Now, how we sense? There are many, as you know, that those are from the physics background, we have different wavelength ranges: optical data, microwave data, radar data. These are the three different ranges. That is the capability of within that range. We can capture the images in these different ranges, different wavelengths. So one part is the technique, is the satellite remote sensing, that from a large distance, especially that whatever we are using, that is called remote sensing satellite. These are at an altitude of 800 to 1000 kilometer altitudes. From there we sense. So it has some camera or the sensors. It has some particular field of view where we are capturing your part of the country. The next thing is that unearth the lost Saraswati. Now everybody believes that Saraswati is lost. It may be lost in the past, but we have to now unearth that. Can we unearth? Is it so easy to unearth? Where it was flowing? There are many questions that comes in mind. We have to see each and every aspect. Then, and its paleo channel. One is river, means your flowing water. Some depressions is the river. But if it is not existing in the form of flowing water, then we can say it is a paleo. Paleo means old, channel means some of these streams. That means some flowing water in the subsurface condition is the paleo channel. This is the meaning of that. That we have taken this technique. What purpose is the lost Saraswati that has to be discovered, and its paleo channels. Now present day it is occurring in the paleo channels. Now many things that I use some inquisitiveness, that our curiosity comes in our mind. Do we find any mention in river Saraswati in ancient literatures? Let us suppose that. Definitely, we are finding that many literatures is there. Where this is flowing river, many people are still it is flowing, maybe in the subsurface condition, but it is flowing in the Vedic period. It was flowing in a very large, holiest and mightiest river, but presently it is in a subsurface condition. It is very sluggishly flowing, or it is rate is very slow. Next is where this river is flowing in the past. Does this river have any Himalayan connectivity? Yes, we have established that relationships, because flowing a river means you need a large quantity of water. What is the source? It can be rainwater, it can be glaciated water. That means our target is that can we link any Himalayan water or any of this source, that is, we can fade these channels to make it magnanimous. There are a lot of civilizations, that means all these archaeological sites which you find out all along this journey, that means they had some relationship between the two. Now, what are the modern tools which can be used to explore the existence of anything? Modern tools, I mean to say, that means we have a remote sensing techniques, hydrogeology, sedimentology, geochronology, geophysical, archaeological science. There should be interdisciplinary subjects that we can bound to say that this is the path through which water has flown and this is the course. Now, problem is that does Saraswati is a mythical river? These are very tricky questions with a mind of a youngster especially. I say it is no. But till its sanctity is stored through scientific evidences. Unless you pause the scientific evidence, nobody will going to believe. Please remember. That's why And the collecting of the scientific evidences, it's not a one-day job. ISRO did this job since 1995. So this is the outcome of the last 25 works, which our ISRO center, of course, as you know that Professor Yaspal, he was also ISRO center in Ahmedabad. He, in 1980, he started this work, but it was slightly in a bit manner. We finally take up in a larger way, magnanimous, because our responsibility is that we have to provide the precise location where they can drill. This is the very challenging. Just draw a line is not to solve the purpose. That precise location of the drilling to the local people and the community or the maybe corporate people, that's why we are taking from a very small scale to a large scale mapping. Now up to 50,000 scale we are doing the mapping, and we are taking the satellite images for different sensors. Therefore, what we say, Vedic Saraswati is not a mythical river till its sanctity is stored by the scientific evidence. Therefore, we have to go for the myth to the reality. That is our motto. Let us see, can you able to solve certain thing or you can justify those things. Now, just to see this already, as you know that Saraswati is described in Rig Veda and others. Just below that, we have three different, that means as a Saraswati, Ma Saraswati that we have made. What are the symbols that indicates? Please see in the extreme left, Ma Saraswati is sitting over the duck or swan. Extreme right is your very close to that you have your peacock. Central part is your symbolic your both peacock and swan. What it indicates? That means just because there is a photograph, you will find it in many of these shops and others. It indicates that initially, that is when it was a mighty river, that there was an ample quantity of water. Gradually it is desiccating, that means it is coming to a phase of dry, and finally, especially the peacocks that lives in dry areas. So this is symbolically we can say that we can construct this entire this history, but this is symbolic. Still people will not believe. Okay, with the picture only you cannot. Picture can be made by anybody, but this is a lot of meanings there out of that. Want to mention that it is mentioned in 80 times in the Rig Veda than the river Ganges. You will see that. That means during that particular period, Vedic period, it was so much of magnanimous. That's why it is mentioned 80 times. And it is mentioned in the Mahabharata, Manusmriti and others literatures. So through ancient literature, what we get? First thing is that we get some evidence, some name is there, that is we can find. Now, let us see some old maps. That is very old maps, where we have a Dutch map of 1746, we have the British period map, and here in all these maps, the name Saraswati is written. At least we can say in that 200 or 300 years back, also in that Survey of India, those maps, these names are mentioned. That means I cannot say it is a myth or so. How can you say it is a myth? Somebody might have surveyed and they put a name. There are other two maps. In Italian map also it is mentioned. Google map also it was mentioned. That means during all these periods it was there. Now, as you mentioned, that association of this river and some archaeological sites, there are many sites which you can find all along this channel. That's why the magnanimity or that means importance of this Saraswati river that exists, that during that Vedic period we have these all different cultures which are present there. And this is just to show a geographical connotation of all these literatures. I will not come to discuss much on that. Saraswati river system. Now, can you find out the three river system? In the northwest part we have the Indus river. In your southeastern part we have a Ganga and Yamuna, which is shown in blue color, and in the extreme south we have a Luni river. These three rivers are presently it is flowing. Only in the part where it is written Saraswati river system with a question mark, that is your third desert area. Now it is challenging. If it is a third desert, how we can find out a flowing river or some paleo channels in that particular region? That is our task. Now, as I mentioned, that what is paleo channel? Paleo is the old channels. It has an ample, that means it has some aquifers. It can store water. As you know that how the channel forms, that means any river source, it carries the sediments, and sediments are mostly coarse grained sand. If you go to that close to the Himalaya, it will be coarser. As you go down stream, it will be finer and finer. So these paleo channels can be used, it can be detected through the satellite images. And here was mentioned that paleo channels can be detected through optical and microwave. Why it is so? Optical means what just we are looking, that means your optical region in the wavelength range we can able to detect. Microwave has an advantage is that it can penetrate to the ground surface, but it is limited to 5 meter only. That is our interest, to use this optical and microwave data. And if it is so, how can we say that on what depth, on what quantity that water, that means water level or water quantity can be assessed? So for that purpose, high resolution electrical survey, that is called your high resolution tomography, can be generated. I'll show some of these examples while I did this survey. Therefore, take a satellite image, did the interpretations, and then take all the ground informations, give the survey, and completely can say this much quantity of water can be available in those regions and at what depth. But finally, as you mentioned that you can see 2011 to 16, we have tried to compile the entire course of the Saraswati. Now, this is a work done in different phases. As I mentioned, from 96 we have started only in Rajasthan part. Then from Punjab and Haryana we did from 2002 to 2008. And then in 2010 to 14 we did and compiled an integrated map has been prepared from the Mansarovar to Dwarka. Now we have a very coarse vision, 1 kilometer, as in the right side you can say it is 1 kilometer, means 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer we have one information. That means if you want to cover a very large area, we have to use the coarse resolution data. You can see half of India that can be covered. But as its requirement is more and more to precisely put a drilling sites, we are using now 1 meter, 2.5 to 1 meter data, which is called a cadastral level map. Every road, buildings, everything can come. So we have started from very coarse to very high resolution data set that we have used. Paleo channels are basically, as I mentioned, this is that on the satellite image how it appears. It appears as a moisture zone. And for that purpose, there is a technique called piecewise histogram technique, but these are technical things that we are using. But not only that, your delineation of the maps, we have used this ground validation. Only delineation will not solve the purpose unless we prove it from different data, geomorphic anomaly, drilling data, tubers, hydrological parameters, age of ground matter, archaeological and different published maps. Everything is integrated to make it that paleo channel. Just now I have shown you that in the satellite images how it looks. You can see again the three rivers, central part, you have a slightly brighter in tone. Here I will say that in the satellite images how it looks. Indus River, can you see in that where the Indus River is flowing? Where the Indus River is flowing, there is a reddish in tone. Red tone means these are vegetation. That means lot of area which is vegetated. But just come to the southeastern direction where it is written third desert, that area is brighter. Brighter means it's a sand cover, sand is reflecting much. That's why it is a brighter in tone. Therefore, this area we cannot see vegetation. That means it is mostly a sand cover. Now, within that sand also, if you go to the field with the naked eye, you cannot able to distinguish the signatures of the paleo channels within that. But only satellite images can help us to do that. Why it is so? Because it has a that means pixel by pixel information, and it can pick up those because it's sensitive to the soil moisture, and we can able to pick up. That's why we have used this satellite images. So I will show you. Now I will show this. This is just a satellite image. I did not do anything. But can you see certain things? We can able to find out the dark signature. Dark signatures means it is a moisture. Moisture means it's expected that in the subsurface condition there will be some sorts of water. So based on these signatures, we are picking up. These are the areas which are very dark. For the whiter portion, these are the actually dunes. Therefore, we can able to distinguish the moist zone and the non-moist zone. You can see it is far better. Here you can see there is a loop. There are two very dense dark signatures. Therefore, satellite images. You see, it is not. I have not created. It is just satellite which is taken the photographs, but in a different resolution. So here, those signatures we have collected, and on our computer screen we did that mapping. Based on this is that your paleo channel map, which have been prepared During 99, this maps has been used by many of them. This is only part of Rajasthan and Gujarat. But later on we extended this work to Haryana and Gujarat. Now this is that map that means when after 2005 onwards we have started this work in your Haryana and part of Punjab. Yeah, this is that mention that you can see that in the north we have a blue color one line that is your Satluj river, which takes a from north to south. It is coming in the Roper and suddenly it takes a turn to the west. Just below that, south of that, we have a high moist zone all along the north-south direction. This is your Paleo channel. That in the past, possibly there was a river which was flowing from north to south, and it has a connectivity with the north-south orientation. That's why we are thinking that possibly that this Satluj, which was earlier flowing, it is coming to the south and it is joining that Saraswati, which is come from that Haryana Kurukshetra part, and it is joining near Saklana. That area it is confluencing. So this part in the satellite images directly it is showing that this area is a highly moist. And when you overlay certain all these different archaeological sites, it is showing a clustering of these different archaeological sites all along this channel. That will show something civilization which has grown along with these rivers. That is the what. Similarly, we did it for that Paleo channels in the part of Rann of Kutch. As you know, in the Rann of Kutch area, that the problem is that it is a salty, marshy land, white color things. But still, after processing bit by bit, we can able to find out some traces of these slightly different signatures of the Paleo channels. Based on this, we have delineated that up to the Gulf of Kutch. Now, based on all our this Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, and Gujarat, we have integrated it to form a integrated Paleo channel maps, and I will show you what are the ground validation for that. Now, this is the integrated map, and I will show you the next slide is you have a simplified Paleo channel map that is by linking that is with your Mansarovar, which is one source is from the Satluj, that is coming from Mansarovar. That is one source, and other source is from the Yamuna, which is coming to that means your Pandarpuj glacier. There are two sources which are joining near Satrana, and that makes a form, and this is the loop entire things, and that we can able to trace up to Bet Dwarka. But as I mentioned earlier, Bet Dwarka, that particular place, what is the problem is that, as you know that there was one temple and which has been submerged. That Dwarka, which is the Krishna's in the Bharat, it has mentioned that he has developed that land, and he has travelled from Dwarka to Mathura via Saraswati. That means through this all along the Saraswati. But through satellite images, because that temple, which is very close to Bet Dwarka, is submerged and it is entirely covered by water, we cannot able to penetrate that water and say that this is the course. That's why we put a dash line between the Gulf of Kutch and this Bet Dwarka. It is just a speculation, that's why we put a dash, but rest of the things we have seen on the satellite images, and in the ground also we can able to find out. Now, what are the field evidences? Means we have to prove it from different angles. One is some published maps, one is your geomorphic features, that is called concave structures. This is also very important for a Paleo channel, that whatever the Paleo channel we are getting that concave structures. Central Groundwater Board and Groundwater Department in Government of Rajasthan, they put a drill of 14 wells inside and outside the drilling, and they found the wells which have been drilled inside the Paleo channel is giving a very good potable quality water at a slightly better quality. The drill which is done outside, it is brackish water. I will show you the results. Not only that, the drilling of water, this has been, what are the discharge and quality has been tested. Bhabha Atomic Research Center, they did that dating of this age of groundwater, and archaeological sites also have been plotted, and all these ground evidences, it shows that the river or the Paleo channel is existing in those areas. This is the different dots which have been shown here. These are different drilling sites. Some are inside, some are outside, based on using this the satellite interpreted maps. The Groundwater Department and Central Groundwater Board, they did the drilling, and this is the result. Some of these results I put only few of them. You can see the blue color that's ellipse. Here it is showing slightly better quality water. So we can see in the top few wells it is showing which are outside of the channel. We see that these are outside which is showing brackish quality water, but which are inside they are providing good quality water. See some of these photographs that means how the water is oozing. That Bakshi mentioned that some water is oozing in 2006. It happens. That indicates, that means some are definitely in the subsurface conditions, some are saturated sands which provides a good quality water. And ONGC also drilled some wells in that, and very close to that your Indo-Pakistan border, that is called Kannauj, there also one tube has been drilled and it shows very good quality water and people are using that. And this is the dating and which is did by Bharat Atomic Research Center, and most of these are average dates what they proposed. It is 1340 to 12,400. This is a total entire span, but average it comes around 6,000. But there are some M is written means meteoric water. It means some contamination from the surface water. Those we are excluding. But if you say that some of these are samples are giving a the age which is very close to your during that civilized. This map has been prepared by ISRO. Actually, we have not put that ISRO mark. That's why I think it is so you have to put it. Anyway, but he has explained that this says a lot of things. Clustering of these settlements, clustering of these archaeological sites along this period. You see, we have not first selected the channel, selected that all the points we have not put, and then we did the channel. No. First, independently, we did the mark of these channels. Later on, we have collected all the, tabulated all these data sets that we have overlaid, and that gives the picture. Faithfully, we did this. All channels you mark and put the settlements, but it is clustering is coming within this too. It is, as Bakshi sir mentioned, you see in the Indus River, along the Indus River, very few of them. It is not very clustered. But of course, the question comes. I will put many of the archaeologists who is coming here. You see in the Jaisalmer area, that part, why do not have any settlements? You see, I have shown you the satellite images. It is showing a good signatures of this soil moisture that is coming just south of this Ghaggar. It is flowing along this. Based on this, we have did the mapping. But we do not have clusters. Possibly, what I feel, what happens? This civilization has grown during the fluvial regime, when it was flowing. After that, what happened? That Aeolian phase has come. That means the sands has covered that entire fluvial regime. Now, it is a cover of at least 30 to 40 meter high thick sands. That's called Aeolian sands. But maybe in future, we request that if archaeological department, they can take certain initiatives, certain places to find out any archaeological evidence along these channels. But expecting that we should get it, but reason is that that particular area it is covered by Aeolian sands. Similarly, Saraswati, that means your Haryana, what are the different clustering, and we have divided into post-Harappan, Lothan Harappan, mature Harappan, and Soti Harappan with a different color. And many of these mature to Soti Harappan, which are that your intermediate phase, they are falling very close to this channel. Channels are done independently, plotting is done later on, it is for down validation. Similarly, in the Gujarat also, we have what are the data which are available, that also we have tried to plot, we found out. But many of the channels recently we have delineated in Run of Kutch area. I'll show you some example. Can you be able to find out more refined and refined paleo channels which can harness those water? For that purpose, optical, microwave, ground penetrating radar, resistivity survey, these are different field validation techniques. Everything has been used. We are using it, but bit by bit. It is not a one-day job. But anyway, some of these results I will show you. This is in the Punjab part. It has been highlighted. Therefore, optical and micro data that can be used together to find out many of these channels. And based on this, we have delineated the channels just south of this Satluj, which is marked with a blue line, that all these channels which are paleo channels, which are oriented mostly from northeast to southeast directions. And if we say that, I do not know, means possibly it has been with the desiccation or has been migrated this river towards this western direction. So that is our condensation. Still we are trying to resolve it why it is so. But channels, sir, we have able to mark on 1:50,000 scale. This is the Punjab area. Now, this is a very interesting area that we have selected, Bikaner. vegetational anomaly. Why vegetational anomaly? It's a rabi crops. Rabi crops, how rabi crops? There is no water, no rainfall. What is the source? This area, no, it is not a depression, nor any canal is flowing. Only it is simple plain area where the vegetation has grown up along this direction. Lot of tubers has drawn. And it happened after 1995. That Indira Gandhi Canal, it is recharging this particular zone. Recharging means it is percolating that water along this particular zone and it getting rejuvenated. Now we are getting ample water. You can see that if you see the field photographs, you will find that means luxuriant vegetation all along these channels. A new channels which are we are able to map it using the satellite images. You see, only we are using a different sets of data, we are delineating those channels. Now what is the validation? That below the sand cover of 10 to 15 meters, we could able to find out that alluvium zones which are of fine to coarse grained sands. So that is giving a ground proof or the field evidence that paleo channel is existing in those areas. BSF is facing, this is that area, as you know, that Bigakot is that Indo-Pakistan border area, and their BSF, which is guarding, BSF and army people, they are guarding that. They have to transport 70 kilometers, that means from Bhuj, they have to transport water to go to up to that your border area with 70 kilometers. Now, there is a request is come from the government of Gujarat. Can you able to solve certain problems? If there is any pollution existing in those areas? Yes, we have tried and we have succeeded, but I cannot say 100% succeeded, but attempted to draw the pollution. This is the map which has been shown here. This map has been handed over to the government of Gujarat. And what are the different, some wells have been drilled earlier that we have tried and we found their drilling data. It is sufficing that possibly there is a, your sediment character is matching, but only some water quality is a problem because the sea water comes and goes down. And why it is elevated, that it has been explained that there was a, actually what happened, normally any paleo channel means it should occur in a depression. But here it is just a reverse. Reverse means it is uplifted. Uplifted means how it can be uplifted? It is, there was an Allah-Band fault. Because of this fault in the south, below that, it has been shown that during this faulting, this particular zone has uplifted. And as you know, that paleo channels are the containing the coarse grained sand. It is much more stable. They can be eroded much lesser than the fine grained sands or your tidal flat plains. Therefore, these are the, because of this tectonic activity, these are uplifted. Anyway, we have delineated those zones. These zones can be harnessed by the BSF or the local people. And ISRO has a motto that we have to serve the people only. Haryana Saraswati Board and ONGC, they drilled 10 wells in 2017-18 and they get a reasonably good quality water, good and quality I have mentioned here on the discharge. Discharge is very good within the channels. That use this map and did that resistivity survey across those paleo channels, and they're trying to prove whether really this from Yamuna, what we are telling that Yamuna has a connectivity with the Vedic Saraswati or not. In that paper, they have mentioned, they have proved it, and this is the resistivity data. And this is the, I was trying to establish the chronology of this evolution of the Saraswati. Right from the 40,000 years Himalayan river originated, if you say, and 10,000 years, mighty Himalayan rivers which are flowing, and all are from the published literatures. I'm trying to correlate and build up that entire sequence. Then Saraswati River, which was in majestic, is 6,000 to 8,000 years. Saraswati River dwindled and dried up due to river sinking. It is less than 4,000, but it is around 3,700 or so. Then major river diversion that takes place of Satluj and Yamuna, that is 3,500, and then desiccation around between 2,900 to 4,300, and Dwarka submerged nearly 1,500 to 3,000. At 6,000 years, Saraswati River was in full majesty. So there was a river diversion around 3,500 years back. What happened in 2,900 years? This two river is bifurcated from the main river, and finally we are getting this particular map, which is representing a course of the Saraswati, which is present here. Therefore, Saraswati River once existed, expert panel says. 2009, in the Rajya Sabha question, Professor by Prakash Javadekar ji was there. He was asked the questions, and there, Union government advocate that scientists have discovered water channel indicating beyond doubt the existence of Vedic Saraswati. This is the major findings. As I mentioned, that it was from that entire this integrated map can be from the Mansarovar to your Arabian Sea. Now, related to the dating, it has been found that Geological Survey of India, they are also doing a lot of dating, collecting samples from the drilling data, and they found two ages. One age is your older Paleochannels, other is your younger Paleochannel. Younger Paleochannel at a shallower level, this comes under 8,000 to 5,000 years old. Whereas the older Paleochannel, it is in the slightly deeper level, that comes under 28,000 years old. Now the question is, do you believe? We should believe or we should not believe? Can it goes to the 28,000? But they have also mentioned 8,000 to 5,000 years, which is a younger Paleochannel existing at the surface. That is corroborating with your Vedic ages. That water ages that I mentioned, it is mostly coming 1340 to 8910 BB, which is also corresponding. But some places, it is some old ages also come around 18,000 years. So this is the summary of our entire finding for the last 2025 work that I have presented to you. It can be used for different sectors, or it can be used, just as I mentioned,